Now the chefs are front and center. It's masterpiece theater. You go like as if you were watching a ballet. I will literally turn it around and it will end up being like the best night ever. A great ship sails with a great team, no matter what.
Heidi, thank you so much for being here.
It is my absolute pleasure, Antoine.
Heidi, you've been in the media world in Montreal for about 2 decades, and you're particularly interested in the food and the world of cuisine in the past decade. Can you just explain why that particular niche?
I absolutely am delighted to share with you. I can't say this story enough times because I think it speaks volumes about who I am. There's a lot of wonder and fascination about how it's possible a woman of my age to continuously be excited about going out to a restaurant. It's like, hasn't she been out a million times? How happy can one be to eat great food? But if you go and you understand the genesis of where it all comes from, I think the ones who know me well get it. And for those who still wonder, you could hear it again with you. Growing up, I had the luxury and privilege of being part of a beautiful family, 4 kids. I was the only girl, 3 brothers. My late father was a dentist, but he was a nature man. He was garden man. He was man in the kitchen, all about sitting around the table, gathering, eating beautiful food. Whereas my mom, being a woman who's running a household with 4 crazy kids, it's like, get it done, feed, go, Campbell's soup, go, white bread, butter, half a grapefruit, get out of here. It was just a means to end the day. And I get that. Being a mother of 3 kids, I can fully appreciate what it was like for my mom with 3 animal boys and a princess. But my dad had that luxury of taking cooking lessons and dabbling and having his Hilroys with all his recipes and Sunday night trying to make a recipe in the kitchen. It was a different energy around my father with food. And I learned that through him, the appreciation. But pause, because we were a family with such large mouths to feed, going out for dinner was never an option. We didn't go out for dinner as a family unless it was a special occasion, a birthday. We went to Chinatown. Shout out to Chinatown, Beijing. They were the go-to spot to feed all of our hungry mouths. Other than that, no. Sunday night, my brothers would beg me because I was the favorite to hold all the takeout menus for Chinese food to go down to my dad. He would always be in his study on Sunday evening preparing for the week. And they were like, go. I remember them coaching me on the staircase. Go. You're the favorite. Ask daddy if we could order Chinese food. Like it was just always this thing. And later in life, when I became old enough to make these big decisions about whether or not I want to go out for dinner, I happened to have been in a marriage where it was always a budget. And I was always met with, can we go out for dinner? No, because we're on a tight budget this month. And babies and formula and diapers and stress of all that adult young marriage life played a part again in me not being able to freely go and have dinner when I wanted. And I would cut out all the articles from the Gazette and I'd have a folder where to go when that one night came, and I'd save all my money and go out for dinner. Even in my 30s, it was like that. So eventually, when I left my marriage and I lost my father to a brave battle, he had brain cancer, I started over. I'm like, this is it. I want to nurture this part of me that wants to talk about chefs, tell their story, learn about ingredients, and go to restaurants when I damn well please. And that is really the genesis of how I got into the food industry and why I love it so much, and the deep appreciation where it comes from deep within my soul.
Do you cook or do you just like good food?
No, I absolutely cook almost every single night for my family, for my kids. The first thing that would come out of their mouths when I picked them up from school wasn't like, Mommy, I missed you. It's like, what's for dinner? Because I am a killer chef for sure in the kitchen, but now even better after learning so many tricks of the trade with chefs giving me their little secrets and hacks. I've learned great little tips that have made me way better in the kitchen. I love to eat. Therefore, I won't just settle on anything. I will never just make a bowl of cereal and be happy. Even if I'm by myself eating, I will take out the Roma tomatoes, I will take out the garlic and the saute and make pasta and sit down. Even if it's me, everything that goes into this body is going to be with intention and mindfulness.
You feel like the food scene has evolved over the past decade, 2 decades, especially in Montreal?
Definitely. I think chefs and the patronage has changed. The ones who are going into the restaurants, they are more inquisitive than ever before. It's almost as if there's a movement that has become the food lover, the food scene. They're not just walking in to eat a dinner, slap down a credit card, and walk out. They are there for the show. They want to hear from the chef. Whereas the chef used to be behind the scenes in a kitchen locked away. Now the chefs are front and center. It's masterpiece theater. You go like as if you were watching a ballet. You go to dinner ready to be entertained. You want to learn about the food on the plate. It's not just inhale, go. It's where did this meat come from? Where was this fish? Is it local? What did you do to get this produce? All of the storytelling, I feel, is maybe it always existed, but chefs didn't have an opportunity or a stage to speak of it. And now more than ever, it's front and center. Everybody wants to know who's the chef in the kitchen. They're following the chef, they're following the food. It's beautiful. I think it's never been a more glorious time than right now in the last decade.
So, talk to me about those encounters with the chefs. Do they usually have people talking to them like you do? Because obviously, you're a bit of a celebrity now. There's a lot of people that follow your content. So, people are interested in getting that perspective. So, how do these encounters work? Do you just go up to restaurants and maybe like show me what happened behind the scenes?
That's a good question. Okay, let me just take a moment. When I would go out to dinner, those infrequent times, I was so excited that when I would eat, I would be that person asking the server, would it be okay? Do you think I can meet the chef and just tell him or her how much I am appreciating all of their hard work? Or can I go into the kitchen and let the whole team know? I was always very grateful from an early start, and maybe that carved my pathway into the kitchen because I wanted nothing in return except to just say, this was beautiful. And if you think nobody took a moment to appreciate, let me be that moment where you know somebody ingested this gorgeous food and felt warm inside and a smile on their face. And can I be that person to say to you how wonderful this meal was? So it was already part of the way I show up. I'd inevitably want to say to the chef, thank you so much for this beautiful meal. And perhaps that put the wheels in motion when I started my career in food. There was an openness because the appreciation, it comes from within. You know, as a hardworking person, when someone is coming at you for the wrong reasons and coming at you for the right reasons. And chefs are intuitive, they're passionate, they're tactile, they're sensorial, they're mindful. I show up with such a, I hope, openness and appreciation that they meet me there. They always meet me there. I can tell you wholeheartedly in all of my career, I have never had one bad encounter with a chef. Maybe I've had like the who's this woman sitting here, a bit of a gruffness, shoulders up. But then in, I'm going to say 5 minutes, they're butter melting on a hot grill because there's an energy exchange and they get it and they say, okay, she gets it. She speaks our language. It's a beautiful exchange. And I'm sure that carved my path into the kitchen. And I have been met with such beautiful reception because of that.
There's a stereotype about chefs knowing their business and not really taking any criticism. Is that true? Do you sometimes tell people, you know what, I like it, but it wasn't great? Like, Do you sometimes give this honest feedback and get a bad reaction? I mean, it can be a friendly conversation, but
I
talk to me
think,
about the dark side.
okay, well, if you ask most people in my life if Heidi has a dark side, you'd be hard pressed to get any answers. Of course, I have bad days and feel overwhelmed and stressed, but my overall disposition is pretty steadfast and consistent and full of light. Even if my kids will say to me, "What do you think of this outfit?" or "What do you think about that?" I have this ingrained eye for finding the goodness in whatever the situation is, and I can't always find the correction. It's very hard for me. So I also feel that when I show up to a restaurant, there is something magical that's exchanged, and then it's in the food. And when I taste the food, it's a revelation and an explosion of flavor. And I have yet to taste something that didn't blow me away. And I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg. I don't know if it's because they know who I am and they feel the love and they know I am so excited to be there that in turn the effort goes into the food. And then what's presented before me is full of that love. I don't know if it's the chicken or the egg. I don't know entirely what makes every single thing that lands up in front of me so damn good. If it's the exchange, the knowledge I'm there, infused in the food. I do think that when you have a bad day as a chef or you have a bad day as a person, it's very easy for that energy to change the way you make a product, do your work, hand in that presentation. So when I arrive, I do everything in my power to massage the moment so that they don't feel nervous. They feel excited I'm there. I never, ever want anybody to feel nervous in front of me in any capacity. So I do all that I can to right away, whether it's a hug, a smile, warmth upon entry. I will never not see the chef before the meal is prepared because I know whether it's whimsical or not, that moment we share will then get transferred into that dish because I don't know what happened and I can't control what happened before I got there, but I damn well can make the setting beautiful if I can help it so that they feel all of that transferring of love. And then I'm sure that's what lands up inside of my mouth.
Let's literally go beyond the plate.
Okay.
Is it the experience itself that you take into consideration, or is it always just how the food tastes like?
It's totally the feeling when I walk into the room. I write this a lot that I'm not a critic. I am not going to pull apart the food. I just don't have the knowledge. I don't have the wherewithal. I just know what feels good and I know energy. So when I walk into a room and I know that anybody, even the happiest little bundle of joy, walking into any room alone, which I've been doing for over a decade, and walking into a restaurant is still daunting. It still plays on insecurity, vulnerability. You walk in, you're not acknowledged, you're standing there, sometimes in a room filled with people all staring at you when you walk into a restaurant because the maitre d' or the host or hostess is not at their post and you're just kind of left there. It's very vulnerable. And if I am left for too long, even I can feel a bit worried and vulnerable and shy. So the feeling can be set beyond the plate where you walk into a restaurant and the it's just too frenetic and the pace is off and I feel a bit like, oh, this might not be a great night. And I will have those thoughts. 100% I will admit to that, where I think this is going to be rough and I have to be prepared to maybe break my streak of perfect moments. And this looks like it could be shaky and dicey. The staff's off. Nobody got me at the front door. And then because of, I think, just who I am, I got to turn it around. Maybe it's a language thing where I'm the English girl. They don't feel comfortable coming to me and speaking in English and they prefer French. Who knows the myriad of potential reasons why the first 5, 15, 20 minutes are shaky. But this is an industry I love. I am not looking to set people up for failure. I am looking to set people up for success. So I will maybe walk in with initial discomfort, like, this might be, but then I am determined to turn it around and start emanating warmth and loving kindness gestures like, thank you so much. Just anything that brings everybody into my fold and into my force field. And then it calms it down. I start seeing, like, okay, there's an ease. They're coming over to me. We're engaging. It sets the tone. The chef comes out. There's an exchange. They see this warmth that's happening. I am not there to pull anybody apart. I'm not there for any negativity. And then I will literally turn it around and it will end up being like the best night ever. And I think to myself how important it is, even in life, let alone going into a restaurant. Go in ready to give your all and see how you can change the energy around you instead of feeding into that negativity and then everything is wrong. Like, you start your morning Monday, you spill your coffee, you're in the worst mood, you're stained, you've got to go change. And then, like, one thing after another, it's like, this is the worst day, but it's because you're in that energy, and then all of it just tumbles like dominoes. But I'm very hardwired to take it and then start, like, pushing all that love and seeing something change. I really get off on that, seeing that.
That's a great attitude. Um, Heidi, I need to ask, what's the relationship between the chef and the owner? So is the chef usually the owner? Do you usually interact with both? So how does that work?
At the beginning of my career, when I had pitched this idea Beyond the Plate to the Montreal Gazette, part of the pitch was focusing on chef owned, chef driven restaurants because I felt like that's my angle. Those are the chefs I want to sit down with because they will wear every hat and have such a arc in their storyline, seeing it from every perspective. And for the first 2 years, I was kind of an accidental elitist talking to all of these major players on the food scene who were chefs and owners. And then I loosened my belt a little and opened up conversations to restaurateurs who are opening up these smashing, successful restaurants. And then it's like, how and why do you have the secret sauce? What makes it so incredible that no matter where you find your location, at the end of a dirt road, at the end of a cul-de-sac, no address, no sign, dark, stormy, this, that, you're full every night. What is it about that magic? So restaurateurs have a very interesting perspective as well. And I think there is no real difference if all the players are there for the right reason. If the chef is happy and the owner is happy and the staff are are treated beautifully, and the culture and the environment is not toxic but loving, and they're a team, and of course it's hectic. I'm not saying it's rainbows and unicorns. I'm saying I know what it's like to have a hectic life. I raised 3 kids by myself on my own for 10 years. I do everything from dragging recycling to the corner to dragging the garbage out. I know what it is to have a hard shit day. But I also know good leadership is all about where you go and how you act when you're in that storm. And I think that restaurateurs and chefs and staff, if they can have that great leadership, then there is no difference in how a restaurant is run, be it by the restaurateur or the chef. A great ship sails with a great team, no matter what.
You've seen a lot of restaurants. And if you had to point at one thing that made it quite a unique experience, if you had to put all the best restaurants you've been at, what's the one thing they had in common that made it a magical experience?
When the staff are happy, this is a ground floor up teamwork kind of attitude. If that staff is happy, then everything just meets, because the chef, it's like a sandwich or bookends. The only way the middle part's going to be wonderful is if staff are happy, and the staff are only going to be happy if it's run in a smooth, coherent way. So if the chef is a great leader or the restaurant owner is a great leader, the best restaurants are when the team feels like they're going into battle for all the right reasons, when their team leader is someone they look up to. That's
Do you,
the magic.
do you feel like the clients feel it when
A
there's a
hundred.
lack of coordination?
Yeah. The ones who are there for that true experience, and let's face it, those, sorry, it's recycling. Do you want me to go run and close my door?
That's fine. That's fine. No, we're good.
Okay. Being that it is so expensive to go, it's such a luxury to walk into these restaurants. Okay. Being that it's such a luxury and it's so expensive, life is expensive now. The people who are there are really, in my opinion, experiencing everything from the moment they walk in. And all the watching and the deciding. If I'm going to film with the chef, I spend hours and weeks watching how everybody works together. If that staff and that kitchen staff and the floor and everybody are not in sync and I see it, then I'm turned off, because I have this huge desire to be around great leaders all the time, because I see what it means when you are standing on your feet in front of a hot stove and you do what these chefs and cooks do. You better be there for a greater purpose, which is when they're inspired by their chef or the owner and the leadership is strong, they'll go into battle every day and every night. And that's what makes a great restaurant great.
I want to end with this, Heidi. What's next for Beyond the Plate?
I would love to travel. I really, really want to take this template and Beyond the Plate all over, specifically Europe. I have a calling so great and so deep to go to Europe and Italy and the countryside and France. I mean, I just want to eat all over the world, because I've learned in visiting a lot of farms that the soil is everything. And now this new infatuation is with the soil and how that changes the produce, and then why a tomato tastes different here, and in Israel it tastes different, and in Greece it tastes different, and in Italy. Like, that is my next thing for Beyond the Plate, that I want to find a sponsorship to travel and speak to as many chefs and growers and purveyors as I can. That would be the dream.
Heidi, that was a very interesting conversation. Thank you so much for taking the time.
You're welcome. You were awesome, Antoine. I'm very impressed with your line of questioning, and this was really an honor.